Hello there, and welcome to Women's Business.
My name is Dr. Marianne Shallcross Smith, known to most as Dr. Daycare, and this is my co-host, Amy Vogel. We'd like to welcome you to our mentoring program designed to educate our community on issues facing working women. We will be speaking to our guests in the areas of art, sciences, health, education, law, medicine, politics, community service, military, and business.
The goal of the show is to provide information that comes only from personal experience and to pass this information down to our daughters, nieces, neighbors, family, and friends. Much of the content will relate to the guest speaker's journey in their profession, what they have learned most about this process, and what they wished they had known before this journey began. Since women-owned businesses are the fastest growing sector of our economy, my guests will close with what lesson they would like to pass on to the viewing audience.
We are honored to welcome Elise Strom. She is joining us from Make-A-Wish. Welcome to Women's Business, Elise.
Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. This is going to be a really good show, I can already tell. Sometimes when you have conversations with people before the show, you just know it's really going to be a show that's going to have a lot of good information as it relates to nonprofits, it relates to being parents, to being a woman in business. So let's just go for it. Tell her how you got from there to here.
From
wherever you want to begin, you could.
Your journey and career.
Your journey and your career.
Well, I graduated from Framingham State in the late 80s as a psychology major, and I thought I was going to be a psychologist and save the world. So I always had that mentality. However, through different jobs that I took after college, my journey pretty much led me to the nonprofit sector after a customer service position in a for-profit business, and I have been in the nonprofit sector since 1992.
Oh, wow. How do you like the nonprofit sector?
Well, I am so used to it, and I really don't know anything else at this point. It's really where my skill set has fallen and taken me to where I am today. It's very fulfilling working for a nonprofit.
All I can tell you is we also run a nonprofit as well as a profit organization, and I need to tell you, your work is hard. Same budget, same executive, same decisions, same leadership. It's like actually to be an executive in nonprofits, like running your own business in many, many ways. And the people I have met throughout the years who are involved in nonprofits put their heart and souls into it completely.
You work with very amazing people.
Amazing people.
Volunteers who are just anyone who volunteers their time to do anything are going to be very passionate about the cause, and that's what I have found. And in addition to meeting, I've worked for 4 different nonprofits prior to coming to Make-A-Wish, Massachusetts and Rhode Island, and the people that I have met that may be affected by a disease or whether it was breast cancer or lung cancer, even asthma. I worked for 10 years for the American Lung Association. Pretty amazing, the people that
people amazing who rally around nonprofits.
Very, very inspirational.
Well, when you work for Make-A-Wish, Massachusetts and Rhode Island, that just says it all. What a great organization.
It truly is.
Oh my God.
The mission is amazing.
The mission is amazing.
Yep. As I said earlier, I've worked for 4 nonprofits, and whenever I say I work for Make-A-Wish, Massachusetts and Rhode Island, everybody knows exactly what our mission is. Where we will grant wishes for children who have a life-threatening condition. That's sometimes the one piece that people don't always understand is that that is what our organization does. It's children diagnosed with a life-threatening condition. But many children grow up to be very healthy adults.
Yes, they do.
So it's not a terminal illness, but life-threatening at the time of diagnosis.
Absolutely. And that's a lot for any parent to go through. And a trip somewhere, a special gift can just actually make the whole family smile and get them through a tragedy that they're going through at that point, whatever's going on in that child's life.
Yep. The power of a wish, is amazing. And the way that we work that is that as the wish is getting closer when there's 30 days prior to the wish. Every child gets a countdown calendar decorated in the theme of what the wish is going to be. And it really gives the child and the family, the siblings, anyone who is affected by the wish, a lot of hope and real true excitement. You know, when someone is diagnosed with an illness, life stands still. And you sometimes feel like you're alone if there's nobody else going through it with you, especially for a child. You know, I am blessed. I have a healthy child, so I can only imagine what it is like to find out your child is sick. So the wish experience is for everybody in that family.
That's amazing.
What a great idea to get the family to rally around the calendar. Brings everyone together. So it's a single one person, no, it's like a whole family unit.
Yes.
Great idea.
Yep,
Wow.
the child can go on the wish with both parents and siblings.
Oh, that's amazing. So how would a family apply for it, and how is it decided if they receive the wish or not? Is there a panel or is there a group?
Excuse me. Anybody can refer a child. So it could be the child's parents, it could be the child themselves, it could be a close relative, it could be the child's teacher, especially their physician. And essentially they would reach out to Make-A-Wish, Massachusetts and Rhode Island, through our Boston office is where our staff who coordinate the referrals, there's an application process and the referral would come in, and if the child meets the criteria, again, of the life-threatening condition, they do need to be ages 2.5 to 18 at the time of the referral. And that's the referral process.
About how many referrals do you get a month?
I don't actually know the answer to that.
Interesting.
We do hope to grant in Massachusetts and Rhode Island. Our new fiscal year starts this week, September 1st, and our goal is to grant over 400 wishes.
Oh, that is wonderful.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah, and the average cost of a wish is $8,000. So that's where my job comes in.
Are you completely fundraising?
I am development, yes.
Oh gosh, that is a hard job. So
Tell us a little bit about development and how do you get the money to make all that happen?
Well, I've been in development for since 1992, and it is, I think what really has to happen is, for the organizations I have worked with, is truly believing in the mission. And when I am passionate about something, then it's going to show in my work, and that's pretty much how I've been in college and just through life. And I think anybody who really cares about something is going to be successful at it. So it's really just making your organization and your cause stand out and resonate with people. And I feel as though with Make-A-Wish, no one wants to see a sick child. And I would think that everybody wants to see a child, if they are sick, granted, a wish of their dreams, and make them happy and smile.
And I think with Make-A-Wish, when you donate to them, you actually see a child have that. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you donate to places, you never see the result of it.
Yep, it's usually behind the scenes. A lot of organizations and those that I have worked with, it goes into research and educational programs and advocacy efforts, and those are all
wonderful,
fantastic. But in this case, you're actually seeing these wishes granted. The colleague in my office, she is our senior program wish coordinator, and so I raise money and she spends it to grant the wishes. And some of the wishes are amazing. I mean, we have one child wished to have a pirate-themed treehouse built in his backyard because he wanted all the kids in his neighborhood to come over and play, and he loved pirates. So it was just like this big project. A lot of children wish to go to Disney World. That's a very common wish, so the family gets to go. Another wish that I met the wish child, such a lovely girl, and she wanted to go to Hawaii to see where Magnum P.I. was filmed. Remember that show with Tom Selleck?
Yes. What year was this?
This was recent. While she was sick, I believe she watched reruns with
Oh,
her
yeah.
family.
I was like, how would she know about
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so there's
That is
all
awesome.
different types of wishes. You know, recently, you know, kids are constantly meeting Tom Brady and who's the Red Sox player?
Ortiz.
David Ortiz. He's a very popular
Yeah.
wish granter.
That
Yes.
is wonderful, and it's great that these sports heroes to these kids almost are willing to do that. That is wonderful.
Yes, yes.
That's amazing. Now, you said you're in the Massachusetts, Rhode Island office. How many offices are there throughout the United States? Are they by region, all of them?
Yes, so we operate, we're a national organization, but we operate as different chapters. So our chapter is Massachusetts and Rhode Island. And I'm based in East Providence.
Oh, okay. Now, do you have big events? Like, how do you make the money? Because people, I'm not good at fundraising. It's like one of my least favorite things to do. So I get very nervous around it. So if it's amazing to me when people can just do it.
Well, we, you know, in our chapter, we raise money in a variety of ways. So in Rhode Island, for example, we have the Evening of Wishes, which is a magnificent dinner. We held it actually last May, and it was at the Omni Providence Hotel. We had approximately 300 guests, and we raised close to $300,000 that night through an auction and you know, through ticket sales to attend. And we had a marvelous program highlighting some of our wish children and their experiences, and it's really quite moving. But we, you know, will raise money just through donations from the public. You know, we'll raise funding. Some of the ways that people can help too is donating airline miles. For example, I mentioned earlier, it's $8,000 to grant a wish. A lot of that, if it's a travel wish, is going to come through flights. So anybody can donate airline miles to us.
That's a great idea.
I would have never known.
Never known that. Wow. And that is an easy sell. Some people will never even utilize their miles.
Correct.
Oh my gosh, that's like just so simple.
Yep.
I will pass that one on.
Yeah.
And
Other
my
ways,
brother, especially Uncle Kevin, he's always saying, "Oh my God, I have so many miles on; they're going to expire or something." I'm going to send him your way.
Very
He's
good.
Massachusetts.
And he can
Very
use it as a
good.
tax deduction.
He could
so he'll be happy.
exactly. Oh my God, you just like one of those light bulbs went on. Fantastic idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, a lot of times too, people will send donations in if someone has passed on, and in honor of somebody who might be celebrating their 50th birthday, like me this month.
Oh, happy birthday!
Thank you. So, you know, we're constantly receiving donations from the public. That is the way that we raise money, is through public donations. You know, corporate donations. A lot of companies, maybe they'll decide to do a dress down day. You know, I'm currently running a campaign right now specifically with daycare centers, and we have a Kids for Wish Kids program where centers, the teachers, the parents, and the kids can actually join together and participate in some sort of fundraising event. So it's actually an educational tool for the children to learn about helping other children that may not be as healthy as they are.
It increases empathy.
Yes.
It increases how every child is the same in their own way, which is wonderful. That's awesome.
How about going back to your childhood, way back? Is there anyone that was significant to you that you find yourself to be really thinking about as a woman in business today?
When I think about that question, I immediately just think about my father. My dad.
Comes up a lot.
Yeah, my dad is very philanthropic, and I grew up as a Rotary child. My dad was very involved with the Rotary clubs in Massachusetts, and as I was growing up, he was the president of his club. Then he became district governor for Massachusetts and Southeastern Mass and Rhode Island. And he actually has traveled all over the world through Rotary, giving polio vaccines in India, I believe it was. And he went to orphanages to visit where the Rotary Club internationally was helping to support a water filtration system. So he had converted my sister's bedroom into a Rotary office, and he has awards and plaques really for his international work.
That's great.
And he was recently just honored by the Myra Craft Foundation in Foxborough just a couple of months ago. Out of 400 applications, he won the the 2016 Volunteer of the Year Award.
That is
Wow.
amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he started a food pantry in Yarmouth
wow.
a few years ago, and now they're serving thousands of families on Cape Cod. So
That's
when I think
amazing.
about my dad, his philanthropy and his volunteer work, I mean, he always had a full-time job as well. So he was a volunteer and truly believed in everything that he did. And I didn't plan on being in the nonprofit sector, but now that I am,
It
I
makes
just
sense.
feel as though, that it was a calling that I didn't realize.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as you grow up, you have a career, the balance of work and life, a lot of women we talk to, it's a huge balance, the personal and professional. How did you maintain that as you grew in your career?
Well, when I look back, the word that comes to mind is just really wow. For a long time, for 14 years, I was a single mother to one son. And so I always had to work full time in order to maintain our existence, a roof over our heads, food on the table. And I always wanted to make sure he was very athletic as a child and as he is today. And so he was in baseball and football and soccer, and I wanted him to have everything that he wanted to have. So I made sure of that, and through that, yes, you do need to work full time. And the balance really was just not taking on more than I thought that I would be able to handle it successfully. And I feel like as women, we know what we need to do, and we're going to do it. And it's for the sake of our children, you're going to do whatever it takes to be successful. And same thing in my job and in my career. Just, again, it goes back to that passion. If you're passionate about what you do, you're passionate about your family, then you will create that balance.
And somehow it all tends to fit together. If you talk about it and try and figure it out for the future, it's almost impossible to do, even though you have goals in your head. But you just wake up one day and somehow it all just fits into the day. It's the best way I can arrange it, because sometimes
You can't really
when
plan for
you
it.
can't plan for it. Like if I ever looked like the following week into my schedule, what was coming up, it almost would be almost like overwhelming. But I get up that day, the day before, and look at it. I'm like, okay, we can do this. I have today to do this. And
Yes.
sometimes it just comes together.
Yep.
I can remember when I was raising children and working in the whole 9 yards, and one day I had this appointment I had to make for the doctor. So I'm like, I can't just do this at 2 o'clock. I just cannot do this and be at, let's say, a tennis lesson or something, football for my son, whatever at the time. And then I remember it just started pouring rain and the tennis game was called off or something.
And you canceled
and
your
you're like,
appointment.
you're like doing this. The tennis game was definitely going to win out. You knew that.
Yeah.
And you're going to call the doctor the last minute.
Yep.
But then all of a sudden, I'm like, Mother Nature just made it rain for me for that moment
Yeah.
in time.
You
it's
know,
interesting how
yeah.
even the weather can just change your whole day.
It can.
It's like, okay, the weather's going to change this day
Yeah.
for me. It's amazing.
And it's amazing too that people respect you. I can recall being in the office having a meeting with my boss, and the daycare would call and tell me my son was running 102 temperature. Excuse me, but I need to leave right now. My son is sick. And you just, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
You are respected fully in the end. I can recall conference calls for work while I'm taking my son sick to the doctor's appointment, or just so many different times when you're really juggling.
Yeah.
Daughter, sometimes now it's all Bluetooth, so I'll be taking phone calls, and she's only 6. I go, you've learned a lot in the 6 years that you'll never learn in your life. I go, my mommy's talking about stuff. Some of it you can't. It's confidential. We can't talk.
Yeah.
Because we'll be talking about business and
Yep.
finance or whatever's going on, but you forget she's hearing both sides of the conversation
Right.
now. And I'm like, Aves, honey. She goes, I know, Mommy, this is confidential. I go, yes. Because you're just planning out life, because
Yeah.
you just got to keep doing it and keep going.
I can remember being in the car too and having to tell my son in the car seat, Nicholas, don't talk for a while until Mommy stops talking, because I'm on an important call.
Yeah.
And then when we would hang up, can I talk now? You
Isn't
know,
that
they
beautiful?
really do understand.
Yeah.
They do get it, and it's great lessons learned. It's like
Yeah.
you prepare them for business before
Yeah.
they even get out into the business world. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It
I've
really
worked at
is.
baseball practices, soccer practices, been relieved when it does rain because
Yeah.
then we can go home. But many nights or many days he would be, you know, I'd go from work, have his sports clothes in a bag, go pick him up from after school childcare, change him in the bathroom, head right off to a field.
Yeah.
Then finally around 8 o'clock at night, we would go through a drive-through
Yeah.
to get supper,
Yeah.
you know, and it all works out
It
in the
always works
end.
out,
It
it
really,
does.
really does.
I believe there's a lot of love behind it, and the energy will flow pretty well. I've learned that in life. As much as you don't think you're going to be there and get through it that day, it all comes together. It really does.
It truly does. And no one can ever take it away from you.
No.
I feel as though women in business, whether you have children or not, you know, it's just one of those things that is, it's pretty amazing how far we've evolved as females and what we are capable of doing. You know, it's really, well, I don't want to say endless, what the word I'm looking for.
Endless is a
can't.
good word.
Yeah, the opportunities, you know, it's amazing.
I have my stepson always says to me, he's 41, he says to me all the time, well, Mary Ann, you women just got the right to vote in the 20s. What do you expect? I'm like, oh, we've come a long way.
We have.
We really have.
Yep.
I would like to say even in business, I think, isn't it woman, I had this number right, it could have changed, it's been about a year or two since I checked it out, but I think women's business lead now more than men's business. I think we're like 51% of businesses are owned by women today.
That's
So
amazing.
That's pretty cool, really
That's
is.
really great.
Yeah, to know that, how I'm being very general, but to know that we were given permission to do this too, ha ha ha. And we just forged right ahead, which is pretty interesting. And self-independence comes with this, self-respect comes with this, and the model you're giving your kids are amazing. Now, do you have a mentor today, someone you can call and say, hey, it's a bad day, it's a good day, someone you can run things by?
No, the only
Okay.
person I probably would do that to is my husband.
Okay, yeah, to the mentor, absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or my mom and my dad still.
Oh, that's great.
So I'm very blessed.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, if you were mentoring a woman today, what are some pieces of advice you would give her? After going through your career, you're still in it, but like things that you didn't know at 20, 25, and 30 that you'd like to pass on to her.
If she's starting out, to definitely go after what you want. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask a lot of questions. That's the only way that you will learn and grow. I would also suggest that if you are a woman in business and starting a family, that it's okay not to be
Yes.
afraid of doing that. There are plenty of options out there and people to support you while you're working full-time. For example, after school care. A dilemma that I had early on when my son was born was what I was going to do. I thought that it would be wrong if I wasn't a stay-at-home mom and putting my child into daycare. And when he was 2 is when I did make that decision to put him into daycare. And as an only child, it was probably the best thing I could have ever done for him. He learned sharing. He learned a lot just by not being with me 24/7. So that it's okay if you need to make those kinds of decisions. And really to just, you know, do what you need to do. Be honest with people. If you feel overwhelmed and you don't want to you can't take on too much more, to just be, to be okay to say, you know, to say the word no. And I feel as though people have respected me in the end for making the decisions that I've made versus perhaps taking too much on and not being successful.
Yeah. You know, one of the things you picked up, I'm picking up what you said, is ask questions. That is so important in a business team, a business environment, to ask questions. I, as a CEO of my company, want my employees to be able to ask questions. I'd rather be able to sit down, ask the question, not be judged, just ask it, and it can save them so many blocks when they're trying to get to the next step. And yet I find a lot of young professionals are just so fearful to ask those questions. So I try every way I can to have like an open atmosphere where any question is a question and we'll figure out the answer. And sometimes I will say to them, I don't know that answer, but together we can get it. You know, if it's going to get you from here to there, let's see if we can figure this out. So I'm glad you brought that up. It's a that's a real good point of view. Absolutely.
And I also agree with the knowing when to say enough is enough. Like knowing when to say no. That your plate is full, you got a lot going on, and you get on another thing. I think as women, we tend to be like, oh, yep, we can do that. Yep, we can do that. Yep, we can do that. But if you're not going to follow through on those, yes, you can do that, then say no.
Right.
Because someone's going to respect you more when you follow through on what you can do versus taking it all on and not being able to follow through what you can't do. Because you're only one person at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You can only do so much.
Yeah.
As women, we want to do everything, you know, working full time and be the president of PTO and bake the cookies for the bake sale and take my child to sports. You know, it's you really do have to set limits for yourself. And again, the others around you will respect you.
It's funny you said that, because I was with a group of women last week and we were talking the same conversation. I said, I have totally grown a huge respect over the last 20-some years of my life for bakeries. I really have, you know what I'm saying? Because the guilt used to pour on me when I could not make those chocolate chip
Just put them on a
cookies.
plate and cover
Yeah,
it with
Really?
saran wrap, and there you
Someone
go.
gave me that idea. I
100%.
can remember I was invited to a bake at the local PTA way back in the day, and you had to bring freshly baked home goods. That like freaked me out. Like, I am not going to be able to make something in my oven, you know? And so that's the day I became very, very connected with the bakery for those situations. And I guess let's not try and put pressure on a lot of families. Whatever goes, goes. And if you want to go to the bakery and bring it, put it on the dish and serve it, go for it.
I feel like today that is so true.
It is.
It really, truly is, you know, and, you know, we're all good people and we're all just doing the best that we can in today's extremely busy world.
Yes.
Extremely busy.
And you're
world.
always connected, so I feel like it's busier. Like you always have the email. You just
Yes.
you never step away.
Yes.
Now, what is your favorite way to communicate? Is it email, text? How it sounds like Facebook. What do you like? What do you do for you?
Facebook is friends from the past.
Yeah.
Text would be my son, and email typically for my professional life.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing?
And how often do you pick up the phone and call someone? Hardly ever.
Yeah.
My parents
Yes.
every few days. Yes, they're the telephone.
Yes.
And you
It's a generational thing.
Yeah, and you almost have got to figure out the niche of what they're using. Who's using
Yes.
Facebook? Who's using text?
Exactly.
Who's using email?
See,
And
we're
once-
always evolving.
we're always
Yeah.
evolving.
and
once
we
you-
are very adaptable.
Yes, and once you figure out that niche, it's a communicate. It's you're communicating.
yes.
I'm glad you said that.
So
That was
all
pretty cool.
forms,
yeah.
All forms go. Whatever works for you is going to have to work for me. Absolutely. Yeah. Any lesson you would like to pass on to the listening audience? We have like 30 seconds left.
Just truly to respect and believe in yourself as a woman. You can do whatever you set your mind out to do. And as I said earlier, don't ever be afraid to say no if there's too much going on in your life, because you want to be successful at everything, at all the balls that you currently have in the air.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a great show.
Thank you very much.